Alright, ladies and gentlemen, how are you guys doing? Keep forgetting to change these things whenever we make a new podcast. But welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to 2.5 Crows. This one is going to be a very interesting one. We're going to be talking about the KOG and player conference. How do I spell conference? Hold up. For
Let me
ENs.
check.
There we go.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, we're just gonna be talking about it. I have a couple of notes here. 2&A Fish also made a couple notes, so we'll go through his. I'll link it here in chat for you guys. So we're gonna go through his just kind of one by one, talk about each thing, talk about what we think about like what they said about it, what we think about it. And then we'll go through mine. Just in case he missed a couple things or didn't focus on certain things. And yeah, we'll just have a big old conversation about this because it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. So Sky, did you watch any of it? Did you or what?
I think I was planning to do some work at that night, so I decided that I'd wait for summary notes.
Yeah, that's fair. No,
Yeah.
here, real quick before we talk about it, let me tell you my experience and with it. So my original plan was like, okay, I'm gonna watch this for like an hour, and it's just like, all right, I'll wait for the character, because you know how the Korea made those character documents like with all those forum posts and everything. So I was waiting for them to talk about the characters in that aspect, so I was just like, okay, let me wait another half an hour to see when they talk about characters. Let me wait another half an hour to see when they talk about characters. Little did I know, I was 2 hours in, I was like, they still haven't talked about characters. You know what? I'm just gonna be in here for the long haul. I'm just gonna watch the whole thing now. Um, and unfortunately, spoiler warning, they never did talk about the characters, and that's like one of my gripes with it, but I don't know why, because that's obviously a player thing, because the players never asked them about the character. Like, and I'm just like wondering, were they not allowed to? I don't know. But yeah.
Mm.
I will
I wonder
actually.
if it was more like it will take too long if we went through all the characters, so we have to decide so minutes, so then we don't have to like sit here for however many hours
Maybe,
everyone needs to be here for.
maybe. Can you give me like 2 minutes? I'm being called. You
Sure.
can entertain the chat. I'll be right back.
All right. Uh, hello, chat. I have no topics prepared for this. Maybe I should do this for the future. If I'm prompted to say anything, I will talk. But for now, how was my day? It's alright. Technically, the day has only just started for me, since it is currently 11:17 a.m. for me. Uh, yes. So I have just gotten up, did dailies, I did also dailies, and yeah, that was it. I hope to be productive for the rest of today, because yesterday I wanted to do things, but I slept too much, and I gave myself a headache. But now I'm okay. Yeah. Until I think of something, or until you guys give me a topic. Please enjoy the silence. Hmm. Since I'm by myself and there are currently 20 concurrent viewers, first off, I would like to say thank you for coming and thank you for being interested in such a topic. I hope that this episode will be interesting to listen to. I don't know whether we'll talk about the whole thing or the whole 2 hours. We will see. But again, thank you for coming. Thank you for being interested. No, I'm not reading off a script. I am thinking on the fly.
Sorry about that.
Welcome back.
Thank you. All right. So like I was saying before I left, I'm really sorry about that, guys. So like I was saying before I left, so I think what you say might be true is like maybe maybe like they're just like, okay, don't talk about characters because it would just take up like all the time, maybe. Like
honestly, I think talking about the characters could take up like at least half of the time that they spent on the actual thing, because there's so many. Because you have to go through all. What is it? 50 or so classes? 49.
Definitely 40 plus. Definitely 40 plus.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe that's why. But like, at least for me and a couple people in my chat, like that's the one thing we were waiting for. It's just like waiting to talk about all these characters and like all the changes that proposed. Because like, you know, I was just waiting for one of them to be like, all right, so Raven's core is outdated and it needs to be revamped. What do you think about this idea? I was like waiting for that and it never happened. I just felt gypped. I felt gypped. I was there for 8 hours. But yeah, that's my biggest gripe. That's my biggest gripe, and I don't know the reason for that. Whether the players felt like they didn't want to include that, or maybe they just like they didn't want to talk about that. I don't know, but that was my biggest. That was my number one biggest gripe. My number two biggest gripe is they didn't talk about imprinting system. I don't understand. Like I'm actually a little bit ticked off about this. That like they talked about, as we'll see, like other certain systems like enhancement they talk about for a little bit, but they didn't say anything about imprinting, and I don't understand why, because it's a bad system.
I wonder whether people didn't mention it because there were bigger problems to solve. Because yes, imprinting is not that great of a system at the moment, but maybe the players thought that there were bigger issues that needed to be addressed. Okay. Whereas for imprinting, you could kind of just leave it and let it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my thought.
Again, not to spoil it, but it's funny you say that because, there's some things they talked about where I'm just like, why are we talking about this? But yeah, let's not delay this any longer. Let's actually take a gander, as they say at these notes. I'm gonna see if I can put it up on the screen. You guys can follow along. We're using 2&A Fish's notes first, and then we'll go over my notes. Most of them have overlap, but there's some things that he has that I don't, and I don't that he has, etc., etc. Let's see here. Oop. Alright.
To read a comment from above, yes, think Pro's still in bed. Pro usually...
Yeah,
Pro usually stays up. She usually stays up quite late.
Yeah, and she has the added component of studying right now, like super studying.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Yeah, she has exams stacked up. Then, like, considering, like, she's in... Yeah, that's right, her uni does semesters, so her exams are pretty...
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah, so Crow will be out of commission for just a little bit longer, I think. I think she will be back in the fray soon. Yes. For all you Mommy Crow fans. Alright, so let's go into it. So the first thing he has here is do something about sinister intent and secret dungeons. And then the devs responded with, they are merely dungeons you pass by, no plan changes for these at the moment. I think that's fine. I don't know. That's my thoughts. I think
that's fine as well.
Yeah, like I don't think
stepping stones.
Yeah, stepping stone content that you use when you're weaker that you never use like when you're stronger. I think that's fine.
Yeah, I think so too.
And like, especially secret dungeons, they still have a use when you're stronger because like grinding for ED, grinding for barrier frags, grinding for treasure hunting chests, it still has a purpose. Maybe they could include, like, I'll say one thing, right? Maybe they can include like maybe a potion or something in Sinister Intent to exchange the Sinister Intent rewards if you don't want to make any accessories anymore. I think that'd be cute.
I think so too. Leading to a point that I think is further down there, which we might get to later.
Yeah. I mean, I think that'd be cute and something they could do. Just a simple item that everybody can use. Okay. The next thing. Anybody in the chat comments about that? Do you guys want DSOI to be more important in endgame? I don't know. Okay. Do something about hoarders in the market. And then their response was they can't because there's not enough evidence, and they're not sure if the company should interfere with the in-game economy. I don't know. Here's the thing. Okay, well, here's the thing with this is I don't know why the players complain about this when that's just an aspect of economy. So
yeah, I think that's a downside of just having
free market.
A market that's essentially free market.
Yeah, like,
and also
go ahead.
Also, the not enough evidence thing point is, I think, quite strong, because then, like, what would you determine to be a hoard? Like, what would count as a hoarder? Like, how would, because when it comes to these kinds of things, like, you have to be able to give a black and white definition for it.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you define a hoarder? So, yes, I think that not enough evidence is fair enough, and while I can understand the frustrations of it, because I think apparently they've had a few incidents where the market like completely crashed. At the same time, it's kind of like it's just part of the free market.
Yeah, that's an aspect of the free market. Yeah,
once the market is free, you have to be able to accept these kinds of things. And like when developer says not sure if the company should interfere with in-game economy, I'm not actually sure about what other games do, but I think most of the time they let it go free. Yeah, and I think most of the time, if they want to solve something like, for example, if they want to decrease the amount of ED in the system, they implement things into the game that kind of like indirectly solve the problem. A bit like how reforging costs so much ED.
Yeah.
And I guess like collection and all that.
Yeah, that's like, unfortunately, like, just talking about our server for a little bit, we had to deal with that without having to. We never had botters, but we still had to deal with that. Kind of sad.
Yeah. But at the same time, though, like, it raises the value of ED, which I guess is good for people who like to farm a lot of raw ED. But at the same time, it's like...
Yeah. I mean, I think, well, because one thing that they mentioned is, like, I'm not sure if the players who got all the, like, bought all the items botted, like, they might have botted, I'm not sure. And, like, maybe that's kind of, like, the angle that they wanted to approach it. It's just, like, these guys bought it to get the ED initially, maybe? I'm not sure, though.
Oh, okay,
I'm not sure, so I can't be confident in saying that.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. At least the way I kind of saw it. So, the way it was shown off in the conference is, like, they showed this weird, very strange, like, shitpost video that, like, felt like a fever dream while watching it at 4 a.m. Like, it was like a very, like, memey, like, video, which, first of all, I cannot believe they showed the devs that. Second of all, how did they I wish they showed us the devs' faces watching that, because that was quite something.
What was in the video? I haven't...
It was just like...
know what's in it.
I don't even know how to describe it, dude. Like, it was just like... I don't know, it was just like a big, like, just... You know what a shitpost is? Or, like, just a big meme video, almost?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of, but it was like it was centered around the idea of like these people who like essentially like quote unquote controlled the market, or like bought a bunch of things, and they just like hoarded all these items. They were just talking about that kind of thing. Yeah. So that's kind of what the video was. Yeah, that's kind of what the video was about. But it had the, like, you know, that had like the shitposty, like, comedic meme flair to it. But yeah, it was just talking about that issue. I mean, I think if it is how it is, when it's just like people who are rich buy a bunch of the items on the board and then resell them at a higher cost, that's just an economy thing. Like that's not something KOG can control, really. That's just how the market works. Yeah.
Or like if they could control, or like say they do decide to take measures, like what are they going to do?
Yeah, what are they gonna
It's
do?
very it's very hard to find something that will punish the bad guys only and not punish any of the good guys.
Yeah, that's
So
it. Yeah. Okay. So next thing is why the current trade limit, and their response was to use the board instead. So this is something unique that I think is mostly a KR server thing. Apparently they don't like, cause here's the thing with us, right? As like the NA server, we use Discord a lot to like manage trades. I feel like, so like player to player trades. Like, we use Discord a lot to kind of manage that. They use just kind of Elsewhere to manage their trades, so they kind of want to push more towards a you do all the trading or most of the trading through the board, not from player to player, which is an interesting take.
I think so too.
Yeah,
And I think their response of use the board instead can also be a kind of is this I don't know if it's a I don't know if you would call it a marketing tactic, but the board is tax. If you want to avoid the tax, you got to pay. So I wonder whether it's that. And also I think another thing to consider as well is that this is like a summary. So it's like so the responses are very condensed. So for all we know, the devs could have given a more polite response instead of just use the board instead, full stop. But yeah. I think this is very interesting. Yes.
It's all good. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of funny because I think for us, like, we want the opposite, where it's just like we want player to player trades to have like the benefits that the board does, like more ED, like more than 700 million being able to be traded between players and stuff like that. But I guess at the same time the board is safer, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, it just really sucks because you have that tax, like the board tax.
Yeah.
But I think maybe like that'd be a nice solution. Is like if the majority of trading is going to be done on the board, remove that board tax. Yeah.
But at the same time, though, you have to consider that it takes out a potential revenue for profit, which is the VVIP.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think maybe VIP still has a. I don't know. Maybe. I think my thing with VIP, I think VIP is too archaic. It's just one of those archaic things that needs to be done away with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's just one of those systems that's just always been in the game that's never been looked at again. But I think maybe it's time for that to go. You know what I mean? That's just my thoughts about that, at least.
Okay.
Like, maybe VIP can still be there if you want to sell multiple items or something. Or if you want to sell items for longer. Like, maybe with VIP you can sell items for like a month or something instead of like 24 hours or something. Yeah.
And you have 27 slots instead of the normal 9.
Yeah. Like, maybe it could be there just for that, but remove the tax so people will be more willing to trade with that. That's just my thoughts. They said, so the player said Prunom rewards are bad, and they said we'll make them easier. They won't adjust the rewards because the dungeons are for accessory farmings, imprinting stones, and raid weapon quests, but we'll think about making the dungeon entry tickets more available or increasing the daily entry run limit. This is an interesting one. Prunom is a weird area. I think it's one of the weirdest areas in the game.
Okay, go on.
Cause like it's supposed to be Varnamir too, but like we talked about earlier, imprinting sucks. So a lot of what made Varnamir good, which was the Mystic Stones, isn't there in Prunom. So it's just like all you have are these accessories, which are great. They're all the well, not all of them. 3 of the accessories there are really good, not counting raid. So it's like you can grind them, but it takes a lot of commitment.
A lot of time.
Yeah, a lot of time and commitment to like
Yeah.
for an inconsistent kind of payout kind of thing.
Yeah, and a lot of those good, and 2 of those good accessories are gated behind ticket dungeons. So they're not very. So like, not only do your characters have to be like decently raised already to get into the dungeons, but the dungeons are very grindable.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess it just kind of is what it is with this dungeon. I mean, it is nice that they said, like, I appreciate that they said they would make tickets more available and increase the free limit to run these dungeons. I think that'll be nice.
I think so too, and I think that's following the trend with what they did with the Areno dungeons.
Yeah.
Because those dungeons used to have, they used to have no free entry, and I think was it El Defense? Does it cost 1 ticket now, or was it 2 tickets?
I feel like it used to be. Oh, you said now? Yeah, I think it used to be 3. Now it's 1. I'm pretty sure. It's 1.
Okay, yeah, I feel like it used to be 3 because I remember the market going crazy and
yeah, like I remember vaguely 15 mil for the run. Like you had to use 15 mil again to run.
Yeah, back in the day when Garden of Arena took 1,000 runs. Kids these days, they get it all easy.
I know, right? So but yeah, no, I guess that's just kind of what it is. Just Brunum's just kind of a weird area, and I feel like until imprinting gets buffed, it's just gonna be this weird area where the rewards are kind of just there's a couple of rewards you get that you can just kind of.
But everything else is like kind of worthless.
Honestly, buff imprinting. How do they not talk about that? I'm so salty. Seriously. Okay, next question. Current new returning player rewards are bad. How would you feel about just getting 10 resurrections? Okay, so the new returning player rewards are bad, which they are. I've seen them before. They're pretty bad these days. And then they said, well, we acknowledge that the system is old and gives minimum rewards. No plans to fix the issues at the moment, but we'll think about improving them in the future.
This sounds a lot like they have other priorities.
Yeah.
Other than this. Yeah, this feels like we know it's bad, but we think that there are other bigger problems, so we're going to solve those first and then come back to this one.
It might even be honestly like a, oh yeah, that is a thing. Yeah, we should probably fix that at some point, kind of thing. Like it's not something that like they immediately thought of, because like I sometimes I forget those exist. I was just like, oh, aren't those like the little extra things you get for coming back? And it's like, oh, I guess these items do kind of suck. Maybe you should improve this.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
It's just like almost like an afterthought kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's cool that they said they were going to improve it. And oh, by the way, guys, whenever they say we're gonna be looking at it or we're gonna improve it, we're gonna know the details in 2 weeks. They said that later on, is that we will know the details of how they're gonna improve whatever they said they would improve in the future in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not. I know it's very difficult to hear things just like, oh, we'll look at it or we'll improve it, and because people want us to be like, but I want to know what happens now, and I understand that. But it's just like, you know, sometimes you can't think of a solution on the spot, and you don't want to give an answer that like they can't actually execute with like their programmers or whatever like that, you know. So
yeah, and I think with almost any official statement, it's a lot better to give a late but accurate statement than a hasty decision. Yeah. Because they did the same thing with if you remember the protests, they said, okay, we see this protest and we're gonna make a response in like 3 days, and they made a response to the protest in 3 days. It was really good. It was very detailed and really good. I think we all can agree with that, at least. So yeah.
They do have a history of doing this. Okay. Next one is we're bound to get new and returning players during summer. Can you improve the in-game guides in time for the summer update? So they said they can't. So 2&A Fish put here busy with other priorities, can't do that. They said that they can't improve the in-game guide until they're done with the summer update itself, essentially.
Oh.
Yeah, because I think it's just gonna include all this stuff. So if they include it's like if they improve the guides now and then they improve other modes later, yeah, it would have to be like a mishmash kind of thing. Yeah. So they said they have to wait for the summer update. Yeah, they had to wait for the summer update to be over, and then they said they can look at the guides again.
Yeah.
It is annoying though. Like you'll learn the most about this game from other players, which like it is very annoying. Like
yeah, I agree.
I'm used to it just because like I played this game for years, but being a new player and coming into this game and like not knowing anyone and like you don't know who to talk to or learn about this, you don't know about LWiki or anything like that, like it's gonna be tough. It really is gonna be tough.
I think on one hand, like it sounds fair enough because it's an MMO. You're
Yeah,
expected to
yeah.
interact with other people. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, it's like you're learning 99% of how to play this game from other people.
Exactly.
And yeah.
Yeah, like what is it? I think like learning class techniques from people, I think that's fine. Like if we're talking about like, oh, Nova positioning for Reign of Fire and Giga Prominence, like learning that from the players instead of the game, I think that makes sense. But it,
Oh,
like
for sure.
yeah, but like systems and things like that, it's just like, okay, which dungeon should I go to for this? How does the mystic system kind of work and what am I aiming for kind of thing? Like the fact that you're not really given hints about that is just kind of like, that sucks.
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I'm hopeful for them to change the guides. Again, they'll be more specific in about 2 weeks' time. All right. So yeah, this is what we talked about earlier. So they said that there's not enough potions in the game. I don't know if I agree with that. I think if you're new to the game or if you're leveling a new character, I 100% agree that there's not enough potions. But I think once you're situated, there's pretty good amount of sources for potions.
I think my speculation with why this is a thing is because the Koreans are very, very meta oriented. Like, for example, if your class sucks, like no one like I mean, yes, people will complain and that like, oh, like this class is too difficult to play, but at the same time there's also this sense of just play better class XD. Like literally
Mm.
just buy job change ticket XDD.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the time those classes, a lot of the time like the really high DPS classes are chuggy.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you look at Liberator, if you look at like I think when you say that, oh, I think we have more potions in the game,
Mm-hmm.
I think that the fact that we are NI mains skews our perspective quite a
Mm-hmm.
lot because we don't chug, well, at least like compared to Centurion and Liberator.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um yeah, and there's also that these Koreans tend to play for a really long time. Like for example, like if I don't know, if I were K and
Mm-hmm.
I was running like hours and hours of Birth Gauntlets every day, I would as a Centurion, I would just go through my pods like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that currently they're also trying to address this issue at the same time because in the past couple of events, like, they've been giving out free pots like crazy. Or like I say like crazy because I play an eye and I
Yeah.
can barely use these in the first place.
Yeah, that's true.
But,
I do also play on Nai, and he doesn't need as many potions as other characters. I'm sure.
yeah, definitely for sure. I think for some other classes like Liberator, like you need IB buff. If you don't have a
Oh
healer,
yeah,
you need IB buff. If you don't have IB buff, you just
cry.
suffer.
You just use less skills and do less damage.
Yeah. But yeah, either way, like we'll take like even as less chunky classes, like we'll take it if it
Mhm.
lessens our pot um pot usage and like well not pot usage, but like if it lowers the amount of money we need to spend on pots, and like we'll take it.
Yeah.
It benefits everyone. Yay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much it. But and they said they'll fix it as well. So
Yeah.
that's cool.
Oh,
So ranking requirements for certain titles are different. You can't get SS. So they're talking about like there's like a standard title with like a whirlwind, and like I don't know. There's pretty much there's a lot of old titles that it's hard to get double S because you need a high combo score. You can't get.
but everyone is so geared nowadays
Yeah.
that
So
I think one of the main offenders is Guardian of Elronode.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because it's an Elronode dungeon. So now with the amount of gear that people can get when as you're grinding the title, like it could like especially for classes with no multi-hit, like
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Because I remember when I was grinding this title, back when it was even back when Breakable Armor didn't exist, like so this would have been like 4 years ago. I had two options of grinding. The first was to grind by myself with no auto party buff. And this means that my runs take 20 seconds longer. So about 1 minute 20 to 1 minute 30. But I don't lose SS unless I like screw up really, really hard and like I get hit a billion times and like I die twice or something.
Yeah.
But I could also party with someone else. I'll do everything like 20 seconds faster. But if I get hit more than twice, I'll lose SS.
Which dungeon is this?
Old Tower Defense.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So sometimes like I know there were like I think most of the time I opted to grind with someone else, but I know that there were some times when like I couldn't find someone else and I was grinding by myself, and I guess it kind of felt okay to me that I knew that these runs were far more guaranteed than the ones I'm doing with other people because, like, again, I get hit more than twice. I lose SS. And again, this is back when Arena was in game and not even Ring One existed. FOJ didn't exist at the time either.
I think when when I got Guardian of Elrianode, it was that time where like that was our gear level anyway. So it's just like it was really easy to get SS because like the combo score was just really good because you were fighting the boss for quite a bit anyway. So
yeah,
I didn't really have any problems getting double.
Yeah, but I think my experiences could also prove that even back at that time, it was like it
was still
it could still be a problem. Yeah.
Right.
So I can't imagine how people would.
Yeah, like ironically enough, it's actually ironically because like I'm now thinking about your example in like more detail. It's like if your party was like better, it was actually harder because that combo score kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, maybe they should have talked about the fact that like ranking like what is it? Ranking like the AS should just be based on pure damage. Honestly, like damage and time, maybe. Maybe not time, but like just I don't know. Like I just think combo score is weird because some classes have omega combo scores. Like with Asariel, you'll just get infinite combo score.
Yeah, like with Cyril's very easy, but if you have I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like they should have maybe asked that question. It was just like, you know, why is the ranking system with like A through SS so what is it?
Important.
So dependent on combo score.
Yeah. I wonder if it's I think there's also the whole thing with how it's calculated differently if you're solo versus if you're in a party.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because I know that my combo score was pretty easy to get when I was solo, or at least, or either that or my shot score decreased less when I got hit. Because I know if I got hit like twice in a party, my shot score was like 8.
Okay.
So.
That's a good question. I wonder. Yeah. Okay. So you're saying it was harder when you were solo with the shot score?
No, it was harder in a party.
It's harder in a party.
So my shot score decreased. Actually, I don't know because it's a couple of factors. Because if I'm in a party and clearing things faster, then I rack up less combo score, and then if I got hit twice, then I think I don't actually know what my shot score is if I get hit like more than twice. I think it's safe to assume that might decrease it to A, but one thing is for sure is that I take longer when I do solo, and that allows me to rack up.
That is interesting.
This is also back when Rain of Fire didn't exist.
Yeah, of course. So, I trust me, I remember that too. I remember that was that was 200 MP meta. That was 200 MP meta.
This is what kind of meta.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was here with my chain stacking, and the only multi hit I had was like Harpoon. I mean, granted, Harpoon is not bad.
Yeah, but... it ain't bad, but like Revolver was very nutty back then. That was like the boy.
Actually, I had an easier time running Joey with a partner than solo. I think it's fair. I think it's fair enough. Like for example, I think it really depends on your pilot skill individually. Because if you get hit a lot, if you tend to get hit a lot, but you have a partner who's helping you to get through the run faster, then that means less space for actually getting hit.
Exactly.
But I think for me, it was more like I was going through these so fast that my room for error was very low.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. All right. Surprisingly, we took a long time with that one.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. CP does not match the difficulty of dungeons. They were saying that like as well because mine was a little bit more detailed with this. They were saying combat power isn't equivalent to like your actual strength, like we all know that, and like combat power is not equivalent to like the dungeons that you're playing. And then their response was they'll adjust dungeons after Elrianode, adjust combat power requirements and dungeon difficulties. Something that wasn't here that was on mine is that for combat power, they also said they don't know how to show power, like as a kind of number. I remember them saying that, which is interesting. So, I mean, when it comes to combat power, here's the thing. Like, I understand. I think maybe it needs a different name. I think that's the problem with combat power. I think it needs a different name because you know how like they changed attack speed to action speed because that's more accurate.
Yeah.
Like I think they need to change combat power to like like dungeon entry or something like that. Like, because combat power isn't your combat power. It's just dungeon entry. That's all it is. It's dungeon entry. Like, because here's the thing, right? Imagine if Rasa Raid was actually doable with 350k combat power. It'd be so easy. It'd be so weak. It'd be story mode.
Yeah, basically.
Like
I think that
go ahead.
like it's doable, but it will take you forever. Actually, can you even get past the DPS check?
Oh no. I'm saying if they reduce the difficulty to reduce the difficulty. Yeah.
350k.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You have a point.
Yeah, like that's like, because my thing is that the reason why combat power doesn't equal the actual power you need to get into these dungeons is so that you can bring in weaker people into these dungeons. At least for raid, you can bring in weaker people into these raids, like your alts, and help, essentially. Yeah. For like other dungeons like Ice Rite and like Trosh, like I can understand that. Like, you don't make a dent in Trosh even at like 550. Maybe you can make a little bit of dent on certain enemies. And like Ice Rite, like unless you have like a splash skill, you won't probably make much of a dent. So I'm sympathetic towards those dungeons, but I think combat power works very well in raid, where you can just meet the raid requirement, slap in a support in there, and then like that makes a good, like, healthy environment.
Yeah, and I think especially because raid is such an important milestone for power in general, like you can at least like start farming up when you're like, even when you like imagine having to completely gear up a character to be like main DPS tier power in order to actually enter raid. Like, that would be well, like let's do it the reverse real quick. Like, how much would you say is like a reasonable amount of combat power in Rasa? Like maybe like 1.5 mil to like be like mid. What's like a mid DPS? I think so.
Yeah, like imagine imagine if Rasa was accurate and it was 1.5 mil to get into Rasa. It's just like, I feel like that'd be causing more problems if it was actually accurate. It's just like, now I definitely can't get in, and I can't get like the Dark Gaze and Rasa accessories and FOJ. I can't grow.
Yeah. Like those are the things that you need. Well, you don't need them to get 1.5 mil, but like, it's the things that you get to get the 1.5 mil.
Right. Yeah. So I think that's the solution personally, is change the name from combat power to like dungeon entry number or something. Like, I can't think of a good name right now, but I think it needs a name change because obviously it's not your actual combat power. It's just how you enter dungeons.
Yeah, and I think when like another thing to see is that it gets
oh gosh, you're going robotic, Sky. Hello?
Things that actually increase your damage.
Oh no, Sky!
Wait, hello? Can you hear me?
Speak real quick.
Hello?
Okay. You went super you went super robotic there for a second. I think you're back now though.
Okay, that's good.
Okay. So say what you just said again.
So I think one of the primary concerns with CP is that it doesn't. Well, like, one of the reasons why we say that it doesn't accurately reflect actual damage is because you have stats that increase CP but don't actually increase your damage, or
that's so
CP
true.
By a disproportionate
Yeah.
amount to. Yeah, I think they did it. If we compare CP to item level, though, CP does a much better job than.
Look, item level was have a good weapon. That's all item level was.
Yeah, if you had high enhancement, you had a high enhancement level, good weapon, boom.
There you go.
Like, it doesn't care about yourself.
Yeah, no, that's why I like combat power, because it actually grades you on how efficient like your sockets are and things like that. Like, how efficient are you in statting your character?
Yeah, it takes so many things into account that item level just didn't cover.
Yeah.
We done with that?
Yeah, I think we're done with that.
Okay.
So next question. Oh my goodness, this question kind of triggered me a little bit too. Okay, so they said issues with annoying monsters and patterns like Plingachu, Avalanche, Megmanta, and it takes too long to match for 4-player specific dungeons. Their response was annoying monsters and patterns will be adjusted in the 7.8 patch. It will be difficult to adjust 4-player specific dungeons due to the dungeons taking too long with 1 to 2 players. So real quick, They talked about annoying monsters. They didn't mention jellyfish. How do you not mention jellyfish when talking about annoying monsters?
Or like literally everything in Josh. Like
yeah, like anything. They didn't mention anything about Trosh. They had like a picture with like the Plingachu and like what is it? Like something else that I can't remember from like these old dungeons. And I'm just like, okay, where are the jellyfish though? Where are the actual most annoying enemies in this game?
I think one common thing that Plingachu, Avalanche, and Magmanta all have in common is they're time gated in some way.
Yeah,
like you can't like.
Can't just
like
dog
you have
them.
to literally, like Plingachu, you have to run over them to get them to. Although I guess like Trosh is the same thing.
Yeah, Trosh is kind of the same thing.
And then Avalanche is like you have to literally one shot him to actually one shot him.
Yeah.
And then the same with Magmanta.
Man, dude, so no, the seahorses are like that. Sometimes the seahorses don't spawn. Come on, guys. You didn't mention the seahorses.
Actually, I wonder whether it's a lag thing, like a distance.
Oh, maybe. Or... I don't know.
Yeah, because the Korean servers are they faster?
They might
be, because South Korea has like godlike internet compared to
and all the players would be closer compared to how we are with NA.
Yeah, so I wonder whether I actually wonder whether the Koreans experience the same issues. Because I think in most of the speedruns, granted they're speedruns, but at the same time, it's like everything seems to spawn like instantly, and I'm like,
right.
Does this happen for all of your runs? Like, yeah,
that could be it. I'm just like, okay, but still, how do you not mention jellyfish then? The jellyfish are still annoying.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I was actually moulding.
Like everything in Josh.
Like, I was actually moulding watching that and being like, okay, but where's the jellyfish? How do you guys not mention jellyfish? I was just like, all right, what character you guys play? You guys like, there's a character thing. What character you guys play?
Well, like, can you like just slap and tight on it and then like just Josh? Everything in Josh.
Something real cool too is that this kind of inadvertently reveals when we're getting the patch that makes story quests for level 1 to 99 for Ain to Owlboy easier. That'll be 7-8. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Good and a bad thing. I think mostly good, because it'll help a lot of new players and it'll help you if you want to create alts to like level up a character faster. Kind of bad because you're losing a lot of ED you got from story quests. But that was kind of inefficient anyway.
Yeah, and I also wonder whether I'm also curious as to what they think of using the story quest ED as a method to run ED. Like, do they like it? Like, do they not like it?
They probably don't, considering they're about to get rid of it in like a month.
Yeah.
But I think overall good, just because it's just easier to make characters now. All right. Next one. Certain daily and weekly quest rewards suck. Not enough motivation to run them. So they're not talking about all of them because obviously like Master Road is amazing, Riggamore is amazing. They're talking about a lot of the other like niche daily and weekly quests.
Oh, you mean like SD's heroic?
Yeah, like SD's heroic, Alrianode, what is it? Varnamir daily weekly. Yeah, like they were talking about the bad ones, like the really bad ones. Yeah, they said they would just look. Yeah, they would look at them and try to improve them. Yeah, they said they would adjust them the later half of the year. So this is not one of the things that they'll establish in the 2-week time format because I guess later half of the year they'll do something more towards that. So there you go. Maybe with the new area that we'll talk about a little bit later. But yeah. Pretty much it. I agree. Like the for me, like my personal Elsword experience is Riggamore dailies, and Master Road dailies, and Haner's and raids. All of those are okay. If we're just talking about dailies and weeklies, the best dailies and weeklies are this: Riggamore, Master Road, Rosso. Those are the best dailies and weeklies. The rest of them are just kind of weird. Oh man, do a bunch of Already dungeons, get 10 powders. Whoopee! I can't wait.
Wow.
How's that one, Nachi?
Refined magic stones are when sages. I guess like
it is good for newbies.
Because because sages aren't event. Well, not event only. So can we just? It might as well be event only because the way you get them through Alchemist is
too much. It's a lot.
Yeah, it really is.
Granted, okay, to play devil's advocate a little bit, it is a bonus item. Like we never had this before. It is kind of just a bonus thing, but.
That's true.
I don't know. It's still kind of weird. It's still a little bit weird.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I hope to see those changes. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a big one. Like when I saw enhancement events talked about, I sat up for a little bit. I was like, all right, here we go. Here we go. So they said, do you recognize the problems with the current enhancement system? They said, we think enhancement events are the biggest problem. We're looking into improving the enhancement system so players can enhance outside of enhancement events. They said that. They also said they would do away with like enhancement day. I think this is more of a Korea server thing, is they have enhancement days instead of weeks. Because I think they have individual enhancement days, but we have but what we do instead is we stuff all those days into like a 3-week period and just have an enhancement event half a year.
I think every now and then we also have like an enhancement day.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, okay. Like for
like
occasions.
For anniversary.
Yeah.
Black Friday, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I made a video about this. I think the best thing to do to fix enhancements right now, at least the minimum, I think enhancements just need a fail track system. I think we talked about this on podcasts before as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think again, like if it's a money thing, I honestly think they'll make a good amount of money with the fail track system because people will feel confident in spending their money because they know they'll get something eventually.
Yeah, like if you knew that you had to spend 500 to get to I don't know, plus 10 to plus 11. Like that sounds like a ridiculous amount, but people have spent more than $500 trying to get to plus 10 to plus 11. So
yeah, but if they knew they could eventually, they would actually be more willing, I feel, to spend that money. Cause I mean, you see it a lot in like any gacha. It's like these people for like Genshin Impact, for example, people will go for the 90. They'll aim for the 90, and they'll spend a lot aiming for that 90, but they have confidence in that 90, and that's why they'll pull.
They will get something at the 90. Like, you might feel crap about it, but you will get something.
Exactly. That's the confidence comes from. But elsewhere, it's just like, you might get it, you might get nothing. So yeah, I think that's something I think enhancements need. Somebody brought up for ice burners too. I think that'd be interesting for ice burners too. Like maybe like every a certain amount of ice burners, you'll get like an ice burner piece no matter what. I think that'd be neat as well. Yeah, that's a confidence
or it could be something. Or it could be like you get like a certain like shard, and then you exchange that for whatever you want.
Let's talk about that a little bit later too.
Like you get like tier 1. You could get like tier because I think in the website they listed their
tiers,
like in terms of the ice burner rates, like the higher tier ice burners have like lower rates, like the weapon accessories will have like higher rates than everything else.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, but I mean, it is nice. They did say they would. And later on, they said that before the year is over, they will announce how they're gonna update enhancements. So something's gonna happen. I don't know what. I really hope it's gonna be at least minimum fail track system. If it's something better, that'd be very nice. But minimum, I think that's what needs to happen. But we'll see. Okay. So gearing up relies too much on cash up items. This is in regards to like time and space scrolls and coralite seeds, essentially.
I think it's a massive issue.
Yeah. So
at least use a weekly for at least give us a week. Like even if they just gave us a weekly 4 or 5% coralite seed.
Yeah,
I
like
think that would make a lot of people happy.
Yeah, like I don't understand. Like 5% coralite seeds are so hard to drop, so might as well give them like like you said, the weekly. Like give us like 4 in the weekly or something.
Yeah,
like,
that'd be nice.
That'd be nice, yeah. Or maybe an exchange for it, like some type of exchange you can do with like some other different item.
Yeah, so then like it should be it should give you enough coralite seeds that you can kind of live.
Yeah.
But also not enough that people will stop buying it.
Because like
yes, I think.
Go ahead.
I think 4 is fair enough. I think 4 is a fair enough number because how many spectacles do you get per week? 275, right?
275, yeah.
Yeah, and then say you're at like, I don't know. How many amethysts does it take to get per click 420 to 21?
I don't know actually.
Is it like 10? Is it like 13?
Maybe.
Okay, let's say it's 13. So you can click 21 times. And that's like the absolute maximum.
Yeah, and that's spread across 4 pieces, right? Essentially, quote unquote. depending
Yeah.
on how you want to
So
reforge.
I think four is fair enough. And also it's important to take into note that 20 to 21 is like the absolute. So people will be running out of reforge durability a lot earlier, like early on in their reforges because those reforges cost less.
Yeah. And then time and space scrolls, you just sometimes get them in events and that's it. So
Yeah.
having them be in something would be nice.
I think most of the time people get the most of them during the treasure hunt events because the thing treasure hunt usually comes with enhancement.
Yeah, it comes with a bunch, and then the price.
Burn, yeah, and then people spend like hundreds or whatever, and then it's like, oh, you get these time and space scrolls as a bonus.
And then they go up on the board, and they're really inexpensive because a lot of people have them. That's when people will buy them. Yeah, no, I think that can just be another thing where like, I don't know, at least because I think time and space is more of like the higher end game type of kind of content. So maybe attach it.
For sure.
Yeah, so maybe attach it to more of like an end game type of material. Like maybe what is it, like a flame mark, honestly. Like maybe give it a flame mark exchange or a blazing crystal exchange for time and space scrolls.
And I can. Out of curiosity, what would you think of slapping it onto Henna?
I'd be fine with that too. Yeah, honestly, I'd be fine with that too. Yeah, I like Hanera as a mode, and I think that can go into a diverse pool of items. Like if they're maybe worried about like people getting too much, they can just increase how much Hanera things you need for it, you know. Yeah, but yeah, Hanera would work. I think Rasa would work. Yeah, I think either of those would be fine to slap a time and space scroll in.
Well, we're already like an hour in. And we both barely.
I mean, this is really important and interesting to talk about. Yeah, this was an 8-hour conference. But then talk about characters though. I'm sad. Or imprints. I'm not better. I'm better. Okay. Yeah, we just talked about this. So they said add the pity system for ice burners again. And man,
probably not.
KOG messed up. They messed up so hard in responding to this because they had a good response. They just didn't use it. Okay, so essentially, there used to be a pity system for ice burners. Like, you had this little material, and you can exchange it for, like, an actual ice burner piece, right? And they said they changed that because they wanted to increase player trade, but they should have said, okay, this system was for back in the day where you could pull any character's piece from ice burners. So now that you can only pull your character's piece, or you pull them in cubes, then there's not much need for the system anymore, just because it is more consistent. They should have said that, and they didn't say that, and they looked like dum-dums.
Oh well.
They had a great response. They just didn't. I guess they just didn't think of it on the spot.
Maybe, yeah.
But that's my personal thoughts on like why that's not a thing anymore. Because back when that was a thing, you could pull any piece for any character. You pulled a Rena shoe, okay, you have a Rena shoe. Hopefully you can trade it or sell it to somebody, you know.
Yeah.
But now we get cubes, so it's cool. The consistency is increased. Good. Oh. Tisk 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 KOG tisk tisk tisk.
Wow.
Also, they actually did say for the pity system that they would maybe look at it if they could. Then maybe they would. Like it wasn't when their response wasn't probably not. Their response was just like, "There's no plans, but maybe we can look at it and determine." Just to clear that up a little bit. Update Hanera with new challenge bosses and challenge mode. Leave normal mode as a starting place. To upgrade force chunk, make challenge a challenge with 1 mil CP requirement or something. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Like maybe make a new difficulty of Hanera, like called like Hell Hanera, and like maybe include more difficult bosses, like maybe like a Master Road boss, like powered up, or like something like that. I have 3 bosses. Maybe. Also, make it so if you clear higher difficulty, the lower difficulty automatically gets cleared.
Yeah, I think this is my biggest gripe.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I know it's just an extra, like, 5 minutes onto my day, but God.
There's so many loading. There's just too many loading screens. There's just too many loading screens.
Also, imagine, like, if you had someone with, like, 1 billion ults, and you ran Henna on all of those ults. Imagine.
Oh my gosh.
Sitting through all that.
All those loading. Yeah, like, you're just looking at black screens for half the time. Oh, man. Yeah, like... man, how did they not talk about that, too? That's so true! Yeah, that's actually super true. How they not talk about like if you clear challenge, you should automatically clear normal, or at least cut normal in half because normal takes way too long. Because you're just looking at loading screens. Come on, guys, the players are messing up. Let me be in there. Put me in there. I'll talk about the real problem. Get me in there. Get me in the next meeting. Okay.
Mm.
But yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool. I would like updates to Haner. Haner's like one of the best modes in this game now. Like, it used to be one of the worst in my opinion, but I think it's one of the best now. But it still has problems.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next thing, so on, in pretty much permanent synergy system, they said they'll think about it. Yeah, I really hope there's a permanent synergy.
I think so too, but only because it lessens the load on our wallets. But at the same time, you also have to consider its synergy's ability to sync AD.
Yeah, it's because of the botting.
Yeah.
So I hate, like, man, if only...
You have a couple of bad apples and ruin
really
everyone else's.
Like, I'm just thinking about, if that never happened, imagine how much easier Reforge, Imprinting, and Synergy would it be if that botting thing never happened. Imagine how much less ED it would have costed if the botting never happened. Come on, guys, dang it.
Come on. You have, like, a bad apple that just ruins the experience of everyone.
Yeah, where's that timeline? I want to be in that timeline. Yeah, like, experience that. But yeah, I really hope they do infinite synergy though, because I always forget, to be honest, until I need it. Okay. So next is pretty much everything in this day and age. Okay, so the way 2&A worded it is kind of simple, but the player's question for the stamps thing is, there's a lot of items that need stamps nowadays, and there's not enough source for stamps because a gold stamp is too expensive in the mall, and there's just not a big source for it. So they said, one thing that they said is that's the reason why these days a lot of things come pre-sealed, and then they said they would think about in reducing the cost of a gold stamp in the shop. I suppose, yeah, that's fair. What is it? I mean, the thing with stamps, I think there is a good amount of gold stamps given in events. I think almost every event has at least one gold stamp.
Yeah.
If you're a more adamant seller of like Riggamore gear or something, then you would want more stamps. So I don't think there would be anything necessarily wrong with more stamps. And it is really nice how like mod books now will come pre-sealed, so you don't need to worry about stealing a mod book because mod books are very inexpensive.
Wait, they're pre-sealed now?
Oh, you didn't know about that? Yeah, we're getting that update soon. We're gonna get that update when Noah gets his mod skills, his second half of mod skills.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, first I'm wondering, I'm like, I have like 1,000 of these rotting in my inventory.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Unfortunately, those will not get a seal, but it's just every mod book you pick up after the update will get pre-sealed.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's just the ones that are already in your inventory. It's just like I guess you just use these because you can't sell them really because they're gonna be a lot cheaper.
Okay.
It's really nice. Yeah, but I mean, I guess the availability. I mean, I don't know where else would they really put it? Like I don't want to maybe go back to like the Haner Rasa kind of thing, but I don't know. Maybe Haner Rasa, maybe barrier fragments. Honestly, maybe barrier fragments. I don't know. Like give another use for barrier fragments. It's already a good grinding spot. Might as well enhance it with like a seal. I don't know. Just a thought. I mean, they can make it cost a lot of L rewards because the title is like what, 150?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, like maybe I don't know, maybe like 100, like maybe L rewards, or maybe 200 for a gold seal or something like that. I don't know. They can determine that, but I think
some ridiculously high number.
Yeah. That can be an option at least, an option. So it's like that actually might be a cool thing, because like if you were like trying to make money, it's like, okay, I'm going to do Riggamore dailies to make a Riggamore piece to sell, and then I'll also do SDs to make a gold seal for that Riggamore piece I'm gonna sell. Could be a nice flow there. Something like that. I don't know. But yeah. Next question is ED shop prices are really high. Their response is that they consider the foreign server economy, so it's hard to balance it because they have to keep the ED cost equal throughout all the servers. But they did say they would reduce the price of the mana elixir just because eggs from the Foru cost less than the mana elixir that's in the shop. Which is kind of funny. I mean,
but the fact that they're like, we consider foreign server economy too, and they didn't have any issues.
Yeah.
I guess for us it's more like it's nice, but it's not like.
Yeah, like
because I think if you consider
mm-hmm.
if you consider the ED, like the value of ED in the Korean server is so much higher than it is in practically every other server.
Mm-hmm. And like, so, what is it? I think, at least for me, the only thing I use in the ED shop is res stones. Like, maybe pet fetch before this recent update where everybody got a free pet fetch, but it was really just it's really just res stones now. Like, I don't buy any potions.
Yeah, I agree. I don't. Actually, let me.
Yeah.
Actually, let me check out what's in there currently. That's
sure.
Because I think actually I wonder whether the Korea has a more because I know they have bank share in the ED shop, but I wonder whether they have
character slot
extra items.
Character slot increases as well. I buy those.
Oh, sometimes. That's right. Yeah, those are important.
Or
like nice if you want to create holes.
They did also complain about the class change tickets because they do cost a lot for no reason.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah, a lot of, I mean, it's true. A lot of this stuff just costs way too much, to be honest with you. Except for res stones. I think res stones are the most fairly priced item in here.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, like, I wonder why they are so cheap, the res stones compared to everything else. Because they're only 500k. They're not even 1 mil. For like, how many of these? Like 10 of these?
No. I think maybe they wanted to keep it cheap, so then like if you had like fewer players who just die over and over, you don't want to gate them too much.
True. And wait a whole day to get 10 back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe, I mean, I think it'd be smart if they decrease the price on a lot of these. Especially the first, second, and Transcendence drop change tickets, because that's way too make a new character. Why would you spend 100 mil to change a second job character that you can make in like an hour or less?
Yeah.
It's not even third job. It's second. It's first, second, and Transcendence.
Yeah, it's a bit of a worry.
Yeah, that is not it. Okay. Next. Why was the L point shop removed? I don't think I've ever experienced this L point shop thing.
Yeah, was it a Korea only thing? Because I don't remember.
Maybe I don't know. It was something, I guess. It was decided apparently. The big man himself, Dongxing, or I don't know how to say his name. He said that that was decided when he was away, so they would discuss maybe adding it back. That's all they said.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what else to say because I've never experienced it. So yeah. So this is actually a super interesting one. So they said we want permanent promotional costumes, and their response was actually, so first of all they said that we accidentally sold the promo costumes that some people got, so they never intended to, and they pretty much don't intend to give people permanent promo costumes for one reason or another.
Oh. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so for people who don't know, KR actually has some promo costumes that you could have bought and magical wardrobe or whatever. Apparently that was a mistake. They did not mean to do that. That's kind of funny. And then they said, yeah, that they don't have any plans or intentions to make promo costumes permanent. Which is a shame. It really is a shame. Because I don't know why. I mean, I would... Maybe they said they did say why, and then it just wasn't translated. But I just want to know why, because I think if a reason was given, people will be at least more resigned to it. Because I think a lot of people do want it, and there's obviously a desire for it. Yeah. At the very least, invisible hair, so I can see my class hair, you know?
Yeah.
At the very least. Yeah, no, it just kind of sucks, but nothing else we can do about that, I guess. The next one. So this is mostly a Korea thing, and we can talk about this a little bit. So, in North America, a lot of Elsword communication happens not on Elsword, but on Discord. Would I be correct in saying that? I think that's correct, right?
I think so too. Yeah, like
Yeah,
there is some in game, but
yeah, some,
yeah,
but a good majority
but
is like in Discord. Um, but in Korea, apparently most of that communication is actually in game. So they have problems with the in-game chat and the messenger system. Which it is kind of old. Like you like something happens in the chat and you can't scroll up or whatever, or you can't type. You know. So it definitely needs some improvement. But I guess it's just kind of interesting to think about like the difference between like us and them. Like they actually like in-game chat features and like actually use them a lot, and we barely do. Yeah.
mm,
Um, and it kind of goes back to an idea. I don't know if you ever heard of the idea, but it's an idea in like Asian tech cultures like Japan and South Korea. This idea of like not created here, and they don't like using technology that wasn't created there. It happens a lot in the fighting game scene. If you've ever heard of like delay based versus rollback netcode. Ever heard about that? Oh, I go somewhere. Hello?
sorry, my connection thing kind of just like
Oh, okay,
cut
my
out for
bad.
the entirety of what you said. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
I'll say it again. I'll say it again. So, this kind of goes back to a concept that Asian cultures have, where it's the concept of not created here, where they don't like using technologies and stuff that weren't created like in their place of origin, like Japan or South Korea, and you see it a lot in the fighting game scene, in like when it comes to rollback versus delay based netcode. I don't know if you ever heard about that.
No, I have not.
So essentially, with a lot of fighting games, most of them use delay-based netcode, which would work in like Japan, where everybody is very close in Japan, right? So that connection works
Okay.
there. But if you're playing a certain fighting game, like let's say Dragon Ball Fighters in America, you have horrendous lag and it's so terrible, just because you play from a lot longer different distances in America, right? So
Oh yeah.
rollback netcode, I don't know why it's better, but apparently it's a lot better, and it's an American creation, I think. It's just so much better, but it's just Japan didn't want to use it because they never created it, so they just never wanted to use it. So a lot of like these Japanese fighting games are like amazing, but the online is always so atrocious because they don't use rollback netcode like Western games do, like Killer Instinct. Killer Instinct had rollback netcode, and it's like online is fantastic. Until recently, a recent game just came out, a Japan-made game called Guilty Gear Strive, and I have personally played Guilty Gear Strive, and that online, absolutely fantastic because it uses rollback netcode, and it's really good. And I love how like they're finally like, I guess it's like a weird pride thing. This whole like wasn't created here, so they don't want to use that type of technology. But pretty much my point is that like I think Discord is another one of those things where it's just like Discord wasn't made there. Discord's a Western thing, so they don't want to use that because just I guess that concept, I suppose.
Hmm.
I don't know. I quite don't understand it, but I guess it's just a pride thing, I suppose. Like tradition, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, it's also why Nintendo online games are really bad. Because if you're
Oh,
using,
Smash. Oh.
yeah, because the online in Japan is good because everybody's a lot closer in Japan. But over here, when
It's kind of
yeah, where the
yikes.
distances are a lot crazier, it's not good. So yeah,
Hmm.
so if anybody was wondering, that's why Koreans and stuff don't use Discord and stuff like that to chat. And that's why they want elsewhere chat functions to be better.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, yeah. So they said that the block player feature doesn't work properly. I don't know what this so they had a little talk about leechers. Do you have a problem with leechers in this game?
Not.
Yeah, I don't really.
I'll be 100% honest. I don't queue very much.
Okay,
So
fair. Fair, that's fair.
yeah.
I mean, even me, like, I can only think about one example where like I was doing ice ray and somebody would just stand at the beginning of the dungeon and not move to just get all the kills or whatever. But the kick option would pop up and we kick him, so it wasn't even that big of a deal. That's the only thing I can think about with leeching.
Uh,
And it's just like, even if you leech, you only get one dungeon run in. Like that's all you get. You don't get a grind session. You just get one dungeon. Cause you can't like have F8, you know.
hmm.
I don't know. Maybe I guess it's just a Korea thing, I suppose.
Mm.
Yeah. But yeah, they said they'll think about it. Obviously, I think Korea's definition of leech is less proportionate DPS. You think so? So they're saying, huh? So maybe they're talking about people who don't try enough, I guess, in dungeons and stuff. Maybe.
Yeah, I think so. Or like people who just don't. Like, yeah, I think that, like, regardless of how well they're actually able to perform, or like whether they're. Yeah, I feel like Korea is more less strict on, or like more strict on le leeches, or like so-called leeches. Like maybe what we would not define as a leecher, they would define as a leecher.
Maybe. Because I know, now that I think about it, I did hear them say a phrase like, oh, they're doing a dungeon with somebody and they're telling that person, hey, why don't you finish the boss? And then it's just like, oh, why don't you finish the boss or whatever, you know? Like actually add some.
Oh.
Yeah, so like, yeah, like it, like actually add something to the team or whatever. So maybe that actually just kind of is like an issue more so over there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. A way to bypass kicking by just doing enough for it not to appear. At that point, like, why? Like, how you're at that point you're micromanaging your laziness. Like, what's the point? Just play the game. Like,
just play the game. Yeah.
I feel like that's more difficult to be like, all right, I'll do the least amount of damage so I won't get hit, like kicked, but I'll at least do something. Like, what? Just like, what else are you like?
Play the game.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't know. I just don't understand. I just don't understand.
Oh, that's fair.
So weird. I don't know. Yeah, I guess this is a Korea thing. Okay. They said so they were talking about the guild system. And they said pretty much, do you have any plans to improve guilds or make the guilds better? Any guild updates? They said they're gonna do something about guild expedition in the future, but not much beyond that. So I guess that's one of those things you can look forward to in 2 weeks. I mean, yeah, guild expedition is pointless. Everybody has the flags that they want now.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe guild expedition can be one of those places you can put like time and space scrolls or like some of these other things, because they're pretty difficult actually.
Yeah, especially when you get up to the high stages.
Like
it's
it's oof.
180 plus or something.
Yeah.
Like when you get Adrian's Palace with like, I don't know, one shot thunder.
Oh man. Oh yeah, one shot thunder. Or like you get Adrian's Palace and you have to fight Dekel with HP healing. Have fun.
Oh, the HP. Oh god.
Oh man. Yeah.
Flashbacks. Very intense flashbacks.
I know, it's so dumb. Even harder behemoths sometimes. Those tentacle things have so much HP.
Oh yeah, it's true. Oh my god.
Yeah. But at least you can drain them and soul harvest them.
Yeah, but back in the day when like those things didn't exist,
it was hell. Yeah. Definitely hell. Okay. The next one is they want to see. Okay, this is something I agreed with a lot. So they want to see more non-canon classes in the story, like second and third path. So they said they're preparing something outside the game, like some type of story or something. I mean, that's cute, but come on, man. I want to see Nova in this. Like, at least do like maybe like a alternate dimension kind of thing. I think that'd be cool. I don't know.
I wonder if they're only doing that because they just don't have enough resources. Like they're already
Maybe.
swamped with trying to fix all of these other problems that they just don't have enough to dedicate to story.
I mean,
well, at least that's my perspective. Well,
yeah,
that's what I think. But...
yeah, man. I mean, yeah, I'm definitely happy there's gonna be something, even if it won't be in game. It'll be something,
oh,
you know.
110%, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Time Tracer got a book. Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
that's kind of like well, that's kind of one of those outside the game things.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm actually curious as to how popular that one. Novel was.
Time travel? Yeah, I don't know. Or time trouble? I think that's what it's called.
Time trouble, yep.
Time trouble, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely excited for it though, because I actually don't like many of the canon classes compared to like the non-canon classes.
Same actually.
Yeah, I actually don't think there's.
I like Angst. I like Angst more.
Angst are like cooler. Like most of them just have cooler designs.
Yeah. Like I think for me, like I would have really loved to see Attorney Winner be canon, but.
Oh yeah, no, I would love to see like Labia just like this punk jerk. I don't know. I think it'd be funny. It's like
Yeah.
Because Radiant Soul's just kind of a sweet summer child. To see like some like just kind of just arrogant
A
punk,
kid who like
yeah,
is not afraid to kick your ass.
yeah. I think that'd just be hilarious to see that character interact with some of these characters, like some of these story characters like Rosso and Solus and things like that. Be hilarious.
Mm. I think Nyx as a story, I think Nyx as a or as a canon character class will be extremely interesting as well,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
considering he takes
Takes up the
after
mantle.
his
Yeah, no, I mean they
yeah
could have a whole thing where he's getting trained by Deneth to be like an official master, you know?
yeah like to replace his brother at least, and Deneth
Yeah.
is more like. And then Deneth is going, and then Deneth is like talking to him about the whole like, oh, like if you do this, like your move power is not very strong, so if you do this, you're gonna like basically shorten your life down.
Mm-hmm.
You might like you're gonna have to pay a large price. And
Mm-hmm.
then, oh, what's this? And then Noel's gonna be like, no, I don't care. I will have power.
Yeah, right. And then we've already talked about how Ray Charts is just Nova's story, but he's Ray Charts.
Yeah,
Thought about that multiple times.
yeah.
Oh wait, someone has something in chat. How do I tell my friend I don't want to play Apex with him because he's really bad? I mean, I think just tell him.
Say you're busy. I have homework to do.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I think just tell him if you're playing ranked, just be like, I mean, you're just not as good, so you'll mess up my ranks. I don't know. Honesty is the best policy.
I think so sometimes.
You've left the oven on in your car.
I think sometimes picking the times in which you can be fully honest and picking when you should give white lies
I suppose, yeah. I
is
don't
a
know.
very important skill.
I think honestly it has more benefits later on though.
You left your oven on and
I mean, okay, hold on, real quick. You can flip it to a positive thing. Like you could help him to be better, like play better and stuff like that. Like help, point out what he's doing wrong. Like link him to some videos and stuff like that to improve. I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you.
Actually, should we go back to the thing because we've
Yeah.
I feel like we're halfway.
Yeah.
Oh, no, actually
We're quite a
no,
bit
actually,
through.
we're
We're quite a bit there. We're quite a bit there.
good.
Yeah. So yeah, canon classes. So this is such a stupid thing to talk about. So they were talking about how some classes will start a skill or a voice line with their third job voice and then end it with like a bass voice. Who cares? Like I really sat there and be like, who cares? Why are we wasting time with this?
As someone who usually deeply cares about the characters, I think this is actually a bit. Well, like personally,
Really?
I think that this
Okay.
is something that is worth talking about.
Okay.
Because I think or at least like for me, and also my passion for the story kind of died a bit.
Mm-hmm.
A couple, maybe like 2 years back when I went to other games and then went, wow, these stories are so much more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sorry.
and yeah, I think especially because something like this doesn't take up that much time to talk about. Like you could just go, oh, it just does this. Please fix.
Okay, that's
And then-
fair.
Yeah, it's almost like it feels almost like a bug almost.
Yeah.
But like also a bug that impacts player experience. And I think especially because some people are so attached to the characters, I think this is a viable concern.
Mm-hmm.
But that's me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think at the same time though, like if you wanted to talk about character depth, I think
Mm-hmm.
like if you're going to talk about character depth and about the characters, I think there could have been like you should like instead of just bringing up this, you also could have gone the whole route of the characters aren't deep enough, plus lore.
Yeah, you know what? No, I agree with
think-
you. No, I agree with you. Like, what is it? Like, all we have to go on for each of these characters, if they're not the canon path, are voice lines. That's it. Voice lines
Yeah.
and a little bit of descriptions.
Yeah, maybe like the flavor text, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But others in the stories, like they're just not very. Like even if you compare also to other games, like
Mhm.
the amount of fleshing out they do in the lore is.
Yeah,
kind of
'cause, like,
abysmal.
What is it? These other games have, like, specific segments or, like, sections of the game that just talk about these characters' like backstories or how they think about other characters and things like that you can just read up on, like, or like little
Actually,
events about them.
Actually, I kind of wonder if it's okay. Well, I guess other MMOs kind of like go into a lot more detail
Mhm.
into them too. So it can't be that because I'm thinking of about the character depth of all the other games that I play.
Mm-hmm.
But then I realized that all the other games I play are all gacha games. So
That's
then,
fair, yeah.
so then because of that, a character backstory then becomes important as a selling point as well. So it's more
That's
like you
fair.
get this
That's fair.
character,
Yeah.
you also unlock the backstory, you also unlock like
Mm-hmm.
ability of the scenes as well. So like in the end, so I think in those games, like the characters themselves have to be fleshed out. So then people are convinced to gacha for them, I guess. But
You know what?
also
Okay.
it's not a gacha game.
At the same time, though, my counter argument to that is that they've done this in the past because I just remembered they made those character backstory quests. They've done this actually.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, they've done this actually in the past, but they only did it for base characters. I think do it and keep going. Do it for more of the paths, especially the non-canon paths.
Either do it for more parts or like have like a second chapter for
Yeah, or
like
have like a
the base
maybe like
characters or
a
something.
unique scenario you can read about with like certain characters that you wouldn't actually see.
Yeah, like you could talk about, I don't know, like whatever caused Raven to be adopted, like
Mm-hmm.
what happened to his what happened to his blood parents, like
Yeah, something like that, or like
yeah,
maybe
you could go into that, yeah.
like maybe even something like silly, like, oh, we're celebrating this character's birthday and we have these like third path characters here instead to like do this. Like, I think that'd be fun too to read about. I don't know. Yeah, I think that'd be cool. I think that'd be cool. All right. Next thing, they said fix character models. Yeah, they just, yeah, I mean, it's just.
Sorry, I laughed because I thought about Raven's feet.
Oh yeah, no, they brought that up actually. Well, it wasn't Raven's feet. It was like Aisha's feet compared to Labby's feet or something like that. It's weird. They actually mentioned Raven too. They said like, Raven in particular is like extra difficult. I don't know why, but they said Raven in particular is extra difficult. But I don't know. It's kind of funny and interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah. Just that, and they said that it's difficult, but we'll slowly progress and do it. Not much to say much. I feel like not much to say else about that. Yeah, the feet update because Elsword feet are potatoes for some reason. I don't know, understand. Okay. So they said recent costume design have been poor and feel like copy and pasted. And their response was that there's just too many characters to assure like hyper quality.
I think this is fair enough.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, I understand where they're coming from as well because they also have to handle all these gameplay elements as well. As well as like the cosmetics. So...
real quick, since we're talking about this, they revealed more or less how big the team is. They said the Elsword team with the KOG employees that work for Elsword equals about around 80 or so people.
Oh, okay.
So finally know that knowledge. And they also said that for getting new employees and things like that, Elsword is a good place to start your career, but you never like working on Elsword is a good place to start your career, but people like don't stay, if that makes sense. Like Elsword's more of like a okay, this is how you learn to get into the industry and stuff like that, and then you move on. It's never just like I'm working for Elsword, then I'm staying here. Like a lot of people just move on.
I think it's fair enough, especially when there are bigger games. Like I don't know the story.
Yeah. Okay. And then they said, they brought up how like people have different, when you awaken, you do skill freeze in PvP. They said that like different characters have different amounts of like skill freeze time. They said they would make all the skill freezes universal for awakenings, and they would nerf escape skills just in general.
Oh, okay.
So that'll be interesting. And this next one is actually super interesting, and I want to talk about this for a little bit. So they were talking about Bloody, because you know how like they made Bloody Queen an HP healer? So they were talking about that, and they were just like, pretty much just like, okay, this isn't as beneficial as we thought it was, and they were thinking about like changing it again. But I think that's an interesting stance, because I think it is good to test things like this to see if they're viable or not. Like, you know, the idea of an HP only healer. Like, I think conceptually it doesn't work because you think about an HP healer compared to an MP healer, you can use MP all the time. But with HP, you need HP in very specific situations that are very sporadic, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Basically birth and
yeah.
nothing else.
Yeah, basically birth. And even in birth, it's just like you never know when someone's going to get hit and need HP, you know? Compared to like MP, you can always use MP. So that's why that's more useful. But I still think it was good that they tested it, you know, so you have that knowledge at least. So,
yeah.
I don't know what direction they're gonna go with Bloody Queen now. Maybe they'll make I think it was Blood Falls, right?
Blood Falls, yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe they would make Blood Falls MP now, MP HP, or just remove it completely and make her more damage focused, or extra damage focused. I don't know, but they said they would relook at her. Yeah. HP is kind of useless when some bosses are one-shotting you too. That's true. That's true as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think again, I think it was fine to just test it to see if it was viable or not. And it wasn't, so you just take that data and you move on. All right, next thing, they have the ability to create test servers, but it's impossible currently due to the small player base count.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a fair and unfortunate thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so pretty much what they said with this too, because 2&A didn't talk in detail about this, is that they've actually tried other engines for Elsword, actually. But they said none of the engines had an Elsword feel to it.
Interesting.
I don't know what that means. Like, it's a very vague statement, you know? And I would love to, like, try it, you know? Like, I would love a beta server to be able to try it. They've created a test server before. I remember the Labby test server. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, yeah, that.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it'd be worth it, especially with a lot of the glitches and problems Elsword has with its engine and stuff like that. Yeah. But that's the reason for not. But fortunately, the next point is that they are working on a 64-bit system. I did not think that would be a thing, that they said they're working on it. But apparently, yeah, they've been working on a 64-bit system. They said it should be done around next year, but they also said that if they just implement it how it is, just implement it straight up, it wouldn't actually change that much, and they would have to make optimization patches later on. But that's just a universally good thing, right?
Yeah, like it will take a while for it to get better, but eventually it will like, it's not like this changes like a temporary thing. Like, it will like the game will permanently perform better.
Yeah. They also gave like a weird excuse about using 32-bit. They're just like, some countries use 32-bit, and I'm just like, okay, I'm sure that's a very small population of people that still only can use 32-bit, you know?
Actually, I kind of wonder how many countries just don't have the technology to use 64, which I think would cover. Maybe. I feel like a good amount of the international server, or like the countries intended for the international server, such as Southeast Asia, might still have it.
Maybe. But at the same time, I think there'd be just more benefits to doing 64. But yeah, it's coming soon-ish. Next year. Something like that.
Coming to an Elsword server near you.
Okay. They said revamp the UI, especially the buff window, because there's a million buffs on your screen, and yeah, there's just a million buffs on your screen. They said they're gonna revamp it. The UI revamp also comes with a chat revamp, etc., etc. That's just cool. This is something I had wrong on my notes. So they were talking about like how costly it was to do raids, and they said they would try to help with that. And I thought that they said they would actually increase the ED reward for doing like birth rate and stuff like that. But apparently, according to this, it says they won't increase the ED for raids because they say the weapon is enough. So I'm not sure. I'm just gonna wait on their summary of the notes to see that in detail, because I swore I heard one thing and now I'm reading another thing, but I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. Honestly, I mean, okay, real quick, what do you think about that? Like, giving a high ED reward for clearing like a birth rate, for example. Like, you just get like raw ED from clearing birth, like a good amount of raw ED.
You just get like, I don't know, 5 mil.
Yeah, like something.
I think the issue is that the ED reward is not gated by the weekly. Like you
Yeah.
still get
Okay.
you still get the same you still get the same amount of ED
Mm-hmm.
for the drop, regard. Wait, that didn't make any sense. You still get the same amount of ED drops
Mm-hmm.
for every clear, regardless of whether you're fresh or not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I think that might have been their primary concern.
Maybe.
So what is stopping you from just grinding the raid for like, I don't know, 12 hours straight?
Mm-hmm.
And then just amassing heaps and heaps of ED.
I mean, I guess that was their point, is that just to do the raid itself just takes a lot of resources, 'cause you gotta use pots, like, stuff like that. So the pots that you're
That's
using
true.
is kind of like wasted money. Because they were talking about, like, how the rewards are just, like, if you get imprints, accessories, and the weapon, and then you get, like, the marks and stuff like that if you're carrying people. I mean, eventually if you're getting the marks, they eventually lead up to a ticket, which is like 300 mil. Oh, do I know Korean?
Yeah.
No. I was listening to 2&A Fish live translate, but I was also half asleep, so maybe I heard him wrong. That's why maybe I heard the other thing wrong.
There's also the possibility that live translating is not
As accurate, yeah.
accurate. I think actually I think he only just knows Korean because he's Korean himself, so he just knows the language growing up, I guess.
Yeah. So he might be just incorrect on some things.
So he's just someone who happens to know Korean rather than being actually trained in translation.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Yep. So he might have made some mistakes.
So yeah, I think, for just a lot of these things in general, for people who are listening, some of these things might be wrong or incorrect, and we'll know for sure, like, when we get the full, like, summary, which they said will be in about a week. They'll have the full summary, and then in 2 weeks they'll clarify a lot of the things where they were just like, we'll see it, and then we'll get back to you on it. So yeah, wait a little bit for those.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's it. That's it for, like, the conference stuff like that, with what the players asked them and things like that. Oh wait, no, not yet, because there's some things that he mentioned. Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll just read the whole thing. So they said for raid, they'll adjust raid patterns, giving people more time to do damage. I guess that's a little bit interesting. And then new updates for the summer are new PvP gear. So this is going to be gear that you don't need to do dungeons for. It's going to be PvP gear, only PvP. You get it, I assume, by doing PvP, and it's the best gear for PvP. I like this a lot, actually. I actually like this a lot.
Yeah.
I think
'Cause
PvP and PvP should be as separate as possible.
Yeah. For example, like, I know if I were a PvP player, I do not want to sit there grinding for hundreds of hours in Rigmarole trying to get
Agreed.
gear in
Yeah,
PvP.
yeah.
Like, the reason why you PvP main is because you don't like PvE. So
Exactly.
I guess the analogy is like, imagine having to do PvP for PvE gear. Like, no.
Yeah, like, ugh. People complain about apples already, like, apples and fighters, you know?
Yeah.
You can only get apples and fighters in PvP. Well, apples, not really.
Yeah, and people complained enough that you can now craft fighters.
Yeah. Like,
so.
I mean, and I think that's, yeah, separate PvE and PvP completely. They should be so separate as much separation as you can, I think. I think that'll just make both modes just so much better.
Yeah, I mean, I agree too, but I think it's mostly because I just dislike PvP that much, so.
Yeah. I mean, one of the main problems with PvP is that the barrier is so high. There's this giant barrier to enter PvP called PvE grinding that you just have to do. Like, you can't just jump in.
Yeah.
So.
Which is really.
It's PvP is, like, gameplay-wise, I think it is very fun. Hard to get in. Okay. So that was the thing. So they said they can't separate 1v1, 2v2, and 2v3 ranking because there's not enough people doing those modes individually.
I think it's unfair but unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, it's just true. There's just not people doing PvP.
Yeah.
They'll say they keep the current raid. So people were complaining about rewards in raid not being enough, and they wanted, like, an accessory gauge, like, just how, you know how you have a VOS gauge for the weapon. They said they wanted a gauge for the accessories, right? They pretty much said in response to that in general they're just gonna increase the birth rate gauge, like how fast it increases. So they're gonna do that.
Yeah.
And then, so this is all the summer updates that are going to happen. Some of these we talked about already. So Elsword through Ain, the level 1 to level 99 will be just like Labby and Noah now. Apparently everybody still starts in Ruben though. That's interesting. Everybody still starts in Ruben.
Yeah.
The
Maybe you do. Maybe it's more like maybe you do like the first dungeon once, and then you, I don't know,
kind of like the jump
third
event or
one,
whatever.
and the 600. Yeah, maybe I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. We'll see. So that'll be a thing. And then they're gonna do 2 new dungeons with the giant boss battle. And he didn't put it here, but the reward for that will be something to increase the stats on your artifact. So that'll be interesting.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, important to note that is that here it says giant boss and not raid.
Yeah,
So
I
giant
think
boss is
like Drbaki.
giant boss is basically Drbaki. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe raid. I think that's what we call it. Well,
they keep EDU.
I think the ED rewards will
The
be more
ED
in line with Labby and Noah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it will be nerfed down to Labby Noah, but
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
yeah.
Yeah. I know. I'm excited for the new dungeon though. I always like new content. So. Oh yeah, they also did say. We'll get to that when we go to my notes just to see what he missed. Yeah, new PvP armor, and then okay, here we go. They revealed the 4th path. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody is now gonna have a 4th path just like Rose. I did not see this coming, honestly.
I didn't either.
Yeah, like, here, let me flash up this image here of the L-Boy 4th path.
Oh. Yes.
So there he is. Yeah, this is 4th path L-Boy right here. I can definitely see like maybe he's like one with the L, or like maybe becoming an L master, like that kind of thing. Like the whites in the hair. Like so he looks more like elegant, and you see that little machine flying next to him, like maybe like a system, like a job system.
Yeah, I think I like this one more than his canon paths.
Yeah.
Actually,
like okay,
because, like maybe this is the one where he kind of gets like possessed, like kind of, I guess. It might be similar to like Nyx.
oh,
Like
okay.
maybe because of some like massive losses he experiences, he's like, okay, I'm gonna serve the L. So I guess like while Night Emperor still has that like L influence, I feel like in this path the L will like completely overtake him.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that concept.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be cool. Like, my thing with this update is like, it's not my like super preference. Like, I would personally prefer like 4th jobs just because Nova is my boy and I'll always love Nova the most. Like, but I'm still excited to see all these new characters, you know?
Yeah, same.
Yeah, because like it is nice to get love for these older characters, like a new path, because yeah, a lot of people have been like, how come Rose gets 4 paths and everybody else doesn't? It's just like, well, because she's from DFO, and that's just how DFO is. So it is kind of interesting to see this like 4th path, and like I'm curious to see like where this goes. Which also means the only really hints we have is that it will most likely be the lost damage that isn't there for the class. So for example, L-Boy already has 2 physical classes, so this will probably be a magical class. And Raven already has 2 magical classes, so Raven's 4th path will probably be physical class, and etc. etc. That's probably the closest hint that we have.
I think one other thing to note is that I think you mentioned that it feels like if each of the characters will have their own like support path, so they'll have like 3 classes that are focused on damage, and then maybe one of them is more focused on support. I wonder whether the 4th class will be like that.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe like I see that flying thing. It looks like it could support in some type of way. Yeah. Maybe this could be like a L-Boy that's like more of a tank. Like you look at that weapon, it looks like a lot more like chunky, like less of like a like you see like the hilt is very like expanded upon, so like it's like focusing more on the defensive aspects. So he could be like a CC type defensive support character, maybe actually.
I think for me, another thing that I like about it is more lore. Like,
Yeah.
Again, I think the lore in this game is very, very like it's like if you compare it to other MMOs, like the lore feels very bare.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to get more lore.
maybe it'll explore the idea of Elsword being absorbed by the L. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I hope so too.
His
I think it's unfortunate. I think it's unfortunate that it won't be canon, but
yeah, always.
oh,
It sucks. It sucks. His demeanor is also very different. Like usually Elboy's smiling, but this one's very serious.
yeah,
So I don't know.
characters,
I like that. I like that. I'm a fan.
angst.
Yeah.
I think also another reason why I wasn't as absorbed into also lore compared to the other games I played is that other games are a lot more depressing. I like depressing content. So
No,
for me, like,
I think it creates better
depressing
stories.
content.
Yeah, I think it creates better stories.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because a lot of the canon paths are like not really depressing.
Yeah, like the closest thing is like
depressing.
Rage Hearts, but they never go into it ever.
Yeah, like Raychan is more like your lifespan is limited, and he's like, okay.
Yeah.
And then I really hope it comes back to bite him later. Like in the story, maybe something happens, and then Raychan's like, oh no, I'm dying, and then Nelson's like, no. I don't know.
It'd be something. I mean, like,
I don't know.
No, I mean, like, no, that was a legitimately good point in the story when Elboy got, like, locked inside of Holovel and everybody had to go save him. Like, that was, like, a little nice moment. Like,
Yeah, it's like, oh.
Everybody dealing with their own personal anxieties through the characters that they had to fight and stuff like that.
Yeah, then they're all like, no, it's fake because I have to go save Elsword.
A lot of them were funny, though, because, like, Ravens were just like, yeah, okay, Ceres would never say this. All right, come on, guys. Be serious here.
Also, those scenes could have had so much more potential.
I know, all right, yeah. It's just kind of a 2-sentence thing, and they're done with, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Pity.
Writers.
I know, right? Okay, so real quick, I'm gonna look at my notes to see any. He missed a couple of things, so I'm gonna real quick, double back and see what he missed that I had written down here.
Hey, let me get those up too.
Yeah, so remember, this was made by me who was half asleep, so please excuse any, like, grammar problems or anything.
Yeah,
like
I can
that.
see. Yeah, this would have been at, like, 6 a.m. your time or something.
Yeah. Okay, so, yeah, we talked about the Indian engine. Oh, yeah, so, yeah, something 2&A didn't talk about. They're willing to make more mod skills. I thought that was really cool. They said that they're willing to make more mod skills, actually. Well, maybe 2&A just said that as a joke. I'm not sure. But I hope not. I don't know. We'll see with the summary. But at least what I heard is that they're willing to make more mod skills. They're willing to make more things bank shareable. They didn't say which, but they said like certain accessories or maybe armors or weapons. But they said they're willing to make more things bank shareable, which is nice. I don't know why Void Weapon isn't bank shareable. It really should be.
Great.
Yeah.
Especially because the Arena node is bank shareable now.
Yeah. Arena node accessories should be bank shareable too, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, birth weapon gauge. Something about, yeah, ED, we talked about that. Oh yeah, so they talked about the reason. Okay, so I was right. I talked about this before on podcast. The reason why they changed raid from 8 to 6 is because 8 was just too much on the system. It couldn't handle it. And then they also said that they considered foreign players when making the change to 6 players from 8 for the raids. So yeah, that was the reason. It wasn't a gameplay thing. It was just a system thing. The system just couldn't handle 8 people in an endgame raid.
I think that's good as well because I imagine for the Koreans like 8 players would be completely fine, but for us with our potatoes, our toasters and our potato internet service compared to South Korea.
You know, I really hope if the 64-bit becomes robust enough that they can bring it back to 8, because I do think 8 is better because you have the more slots for like, pardon my French, but useless fresh and buffers, like 2 more buffers. I think 8 is better, personally.
At the same time though, six people has brought on like the really nice thing of being able to form parties faster, especially
that's true.
Specifically for Rosso, but I think it only works that way because Rosso's so easy now. For Birth, I think 8 would be super nice, but I think for Rosso, I would rather. I think even before, well, how can I say this? Like I think maybe before we thought that the change might have not been so great. But I think now that we're more settled into the system, I think with Rosso, I'd rather have 6 people because it's so easy.
Yeah, my only bad thing with Rosso is that it just takes up the slots that were for useless fresh, so I can't really take useless fresh anymore. Like you can take maybe like one useless fresh instead of like 2.
Yeah.
But it'd be like that.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they'll update raid patterns to give us more damage. Yeah, they talked about PvP players. Okay, this is one thing that the Korean representative said that I don't understand. So they said, and they had a picture too. They said black and white was too hard to get, and then they showed like a picture that had like the skill bands and the head bombs. But I don't understand that, because if you are at a point where you discovered black and white, how are you still dying in birth? Like, okay, early on, like your early clears, like you're still trying to learn the raid, of course you're gonna die. If you have discovered black and white, that means you've run the dungeon 100 times each. Honestly, like, I'm just confused how are you still dying, that it's such an issue you need to bring it up.
That it might be because there's other people in the party killing you.
Yeah, like...
But at the same time, it's like
griefers, maybe? Like, maybe like
griefers,
your party might be bad.
trolls.
I think your party's bad. Like, get a better party then. Maybe maybe that goes back to the whole they don't use outside sources to chat, so maybe they're just farming with randos and party list.
Holy crap.
Are they really farming black and white with randos? Oh no. Wait, what are you guys doing?
That's just
Why would you do that to yourself?
a moment of silence.
I think
That's what it needs.
I think that's what they're doing, to be honest. Because like for us, it's just like we have our like discords and like raid groups. I mean, it's hard to find raid groups, obviously, but once you do, you just run with them, and we're all knowledgeable, and we're not gonna mess it up, and people probably aren't gonna die unless you like, everybody makes mistakes. Obviously, sometimes you make a skill ban, and it's like your fault. But it's like, I don't think it's ever such a big issue. You need to be like black and white is too hard to get. Because you have things like honey waffles, stone apples, res synergy. You have things like that to help you out.
Yeah, you need like 150. How many runs of each? 150 of each with no redstone.
I think so. I'm not.
Check.
Yeah, I'm gonna check too.
Oh wait, I don't have the title unlocked. Never mind. I can't.
No. I went to Elwiki. I give me a second. But I know to discover it, you have to do the other dungeons 100 times each. Yeah, it's 150 each. 150 each. Yeah, 150 without consuming a redstone. I mean, if anything, they could change it to like 75 each. Like maybe 150 is too many runs. Like I think 75 each of the dungeons is fine. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just confused because it's just like, how are you complaining about black and white being too hard? Like if you get black and white, how are you still dying? I'm confused.
Yeah.
Like, what a weird thing to complain about. I don't know. But it could just be that they're doing birth parties with randos and people are griefing them.
Yeah. If that's the case, then that's fair enough concern, because you're using all these. Because like, not everyone is like geared enough to do 10-minute.
Yeah, like it just might be a difference between the servers. Like for us, we go with consistent parties every week. Maybe with them, they go with more random people.
Yeah.
I don't know. Interesting. I mean, they did say they would make birth easier. They said they would make your periods of doing DPS longer. So that's interesting.
I think it might be referring to how, like, when you say you do this whole thing and birth goes down, and then you're like, you can for however, maybe he just stays maybe he just lies down for a bit longer.
Maybe. Oh, okay. Something really actually super interesting happened, right? So they were actually talking about with birth raid. So when they saw players were DPSing during laser phase, right? They said that they had a discussion internally about, okay, people are DPSing during laser phases. What do we do with that? And they had to make a decision of either they make it so they want players to focus more on dodging during laser phase, or do they just like, okay, we'll just go with the players and be like, we'll let them DPS during laser phase. And it's interesting that they chose okay, we'll let players DPS, and they intensified it by making them debuffable during those attacks.
I think it's a really interesting concept. Like, it's more like the players found a loophole. Good for them.
Yeah, but instead of being like, okay, let's fix it, it's more like, okay, you found this loophole, we'll encourage it actually. It's like, go ahead.
It's interesting because then it encourages players to kind of explore the boss fight, do different things, and maybe like find your own tech to making the boss fights faster. Is it really a loophole though? Yeah. So yeah, it's really a loophole. Because
if in the final fight with Annihilator, when he does laser phase, there's actually a gap where you can stand to be safe and not hit by lasers. And the original intention was that you memorize where that slot is and you run there really fast. That was the original. Yeah, you're not supposed to tank the lasers. The original intention is that you go to that gap and dodge the lasers, like 12-3-2. You know when he does the eye attack with the lasers and you go to those platforms, like the gap in the platforms. Yeah, it's just like that attack.
Sickle,
Yeah, it's just like that.
But then people discovered But then the people discovered that it's more worth like bringing like damage reduction and just tank lasers.
Yeah,
and
tank
DPS
through it.
at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's really cool that they were just like, okay, yeah, have fun. Like, we'll just make it even easier, but make him debuffable, so we can encourage this. Because they could have very easily been like, okay, Birth is invincible during lasers. Deal with it. Dodge it. like we made lasers stronger, and he's invincible during lasers, so now you're being forced to dodge it.
Yeah, and then people get annoyed, like, oh, we can't clear faster. Wow.
Yeah.
Which I think is actually valid.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'd tilt if I had to sit there and do nothing.
That's fair. But it is really cool though. It is really cool. Like, this seems so un-KOG for them to be like, look at a manipulation and be like, or just any game company to like look at a manipulation and actually go with the players and be like, yeah, okay, you found this exploit, we'll just give it to you and give it to you better actually, because we're making him debuffable. Yeah. Yeah, no, I appreciate it too. Actually, I very much like. I'll give them their credit for that because I think that was a good decision. To go with the players on that one. Yeah, that was cool. Oh, this part. Okay, this part pissed me off a little bit. The devs didn't actually know that the birth flash thing can cause seizures. Like what? Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like how do you not know that? That's why that seizure thing's still there.
Yeah, like I love how like when we first saw it in the Korean server, like the first time we saw it, every single time like someone was streaming it, like the entire like call would be like seizure warning, guys, seizure warning.
Yeah, seizure warning. Look out! Pikachu flashbacks.
Yeah. Yeah, so we were watching K streaming.
Yeah.
Runs and then every single time seizure warning, seizure warning.
Yeah, seizure warning. Yeah, how the heck did they not know? I mean, hopefully that means they're gonna change it because, like I don't get seizures, but even looking at that hurts, man. That really does. It does hurt your eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me it's alright, but like, but getting a seizure is a really like, it sounds horrifying. I would not want to ever want to know what a seizure feels like.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, games have working flashing lights for a reason. Yeah, it's like in Genshin. Like every single time you boot up Genshin, they're like, this game has flashing lights.
Right.
If you ever like extreme, it's like playing for long hours causes like eye strain. And even like playing for long hours causes eye strain if you experience blah 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 symptoms. Please immediately close the game, consult a doctor, blah blah blah.
Yeah. It also doesn't even have the warning. It's just like, okay, this happened. Get ready.
It's like kaboom seizure.
But pull up your inventory to block it. That's what I do.
Oh, I think I'm okay with looking at it, but I think if I were epileptic, I would just like
close your eyes, look away, or something like that.
Yeah. I think fortunately you can use audio to know when the thing ends. Like when the music of the next phase starts, you can be like, okay, go safe.
All right, cool. So yeah, they didn't know about that for some reason. Yeah, okay. Game market. Yep. Talked about that. Yep. Okay, talked about that. Reflecting things. That's difficult. Yep. Oh yeah, they talked about Elsword curves. You know, Elsword curves on the map, like how they just force stop your movement. They said they would work on that and try to fix that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That is so annoying.
Yeah, like if you're doing like the first dungeon in Pruanom and like you're riding your pet through that final slide, and you just get stopped by the wall. The invisible curve wall. Yeah, the invisible curve wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting that they said they would fix that. Talking about annoying enemies. Yep. Returning player awards. Yep. In-game guides. Yeah, we talked about that. New area, better. Oh yeah, they said they're planning. So the new area, with the 2 new dungeons they're gonna put out, they said that the new area itself will come with better EXP and better rewards. So I think we're getting a trash replacement soon. Finally.
Yeah.
I think we're finally gonna get a trash replacement.
I mean, I'd be a little cautious in saying, finally we can be free of trash, because what if this is
even more annoying? Yeah.
And also, I think at least like for me, like the main reason why I'm not looking forward to it is because then it means that I have to update my Animus' gear, and currently like my Animus is pretty my Animus. It took me a while to get to the CP requirement,
Mm-hmm.
and like she's at like she's barely hitting the CP requirement already.
Yeah.
And like it's as comfortable as I can get it.
Mm-hmm.
So then if the new dungeon comes out, then I'm forced to like quit
Go.
looking. We all don't have.
Yeah, I know, right?
So it's like.
I mean, I'm at least interested in new content because I always like new dungeons.
Yeah,
so,
same.
Regardless, I think.
But at the same time though, like if this dungeon was not, but at the same time though, like if this dungeon isn't very hard to do with my NI, for example,
Mm-hmm.
I'd be okay.
Yeah. Me too.
But anyway, we'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll have to see in the upcoming.
We just have to pray that it's not as annoying. I just hope that it is as fast and not as annoying as
I think
Trash.
that's Trosh's best benefit is that it's fast, you know. So
Yeah.
and I think because that's
For me,
the...
that's what...
Go ahead.
Oh, I don't know, because I'm saying that like, one thing that I really like about Trosh is that it's so fast. Like this is this is actually one of the primary reasons why I can sit there for Trosh and grind like 10 hours.
Yeah.
Because like it's so, for me the fast clear is just it just gives my brain so much satisfaction that I just can't stop. Once I get going, I just can't stop.
That's fair. No, yeah, that helps with my annoyance. Like as soon as I start getting annoyed with Trosh, it's over. Like then I can just like reset.
Yeah, and you started.
Yeah.
You drain your sanity battery a little less.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, very exciting though. Very exciting. Okay, so we talked about stamps. Yeah. Somebody was just like some girl was wilding out there. She was just like straight up asked if they think their answers are good enough. Like, whew, the girl was wild. I just think that was funny. That's why I wrote that note because she said that.
Wait, where? Let me just see. I asked if they think their answers. No, I think this is actually a valid concern.
You know, it is. I just think it's like, dang, girl. Like,
yeah, especially like because this conference was made because the outcry, because of like community outcry.
Yeah.
That's it. Like this is the only reason why the conference exists.
Well, not because it exists.
Like,
the reason it's happening now, because it was always supposed to happen, but Corona.
Oh, okay.
Oh wait, did you not know about that?
No, I did not.
Okay. So the idea with these conferences is that they're actually supposed to be a thing that happens every either year or 2 years. I'm not sure. I don't know if you remember the last one that happened, but the last one that happened teased like roster rate and stuff like that. But yeah, these conferences are supposed to be happening like more consistently, and then something happened where it couldn't happen. I don't know if some directors were sick or something like that, and then it got pushed back. And then Corona happened, so it had to be pushed back again, and it kept getting pushed back. And then when the controversy happened, players brought up the conference, and it's just like, why hasn't conference happened yet? Why haven't we heard news about the conference? So they just took that as the opportunity to be like, okay, conference is happening. But yeah, this is like supposed to be a consistent thing, this conference.
Oh, okay. So player asked if they think the answers are good enough. Well, I mean, at this point, I think it's a fair enough concern because right now KOG is at the mercy of the players.
Yeah, I mean,
and the whole boycott thing. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people will be frustrated. Like, here's one thing with this response. I think a lot of people will be frustrated because a lot of their responses were just like, okay, we'll work on it and we'll tell you about it. Because I think one of the players actually got really annoyed with that answer, and they're just like, you keep saying you're gonna work on it, but when are you gonna actually like? When are we gonna hear more about this? And then they responded with, okay, about 2 weeks time. I think it was really good that they asked that and gave that response because now we have a time frame to be like, okay, in 2 weeks time we'll see the more detailed response to what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
So people have to be a little bit more patient, and I know that's frustrating, but get angry in 2 weeks. Yeah, get angry in 2 weeks if the response isn't good enough. Yeah. Pez asked about changes in the Gilia, yeah. Path stories, we have portions, physics, enhancement revamp. Yeah, and then that's pretty much everything. So the only things that need to be hummed up is they will give a full official summary in about a week's time, and in about 2 weeks, again, all the things that they said, okay, we'll work on it and tell you later, they will have a detailed like what they're gonna do in about 2 weeks. And there you go. Next big update is gonna be the story update, and that's happening on 7/8, I think. So yeah. The one before Rasa also teased third job. Yeah, that one too. Do you remember that one? The thing that teased third job?
I don't remember.
Okay. But
I only remember the trailer.
Yeah, that's where they premiered that trailer.
Oh,
yeah,
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that definitely wasn't her. That definitely wasn't around.
Also, real quick to talk about that, they kind of just casually dropped fourth job. Like there was no trailer video. They just said, okay, these are the updates happening, and then the last one was fourth path. My bad. Fourth path.
Full bathrooms.
Yeah, no, I'm saying the wrong things.
Wow.
Yeah, like they just casually dropped like, oh yeah, fourth path is happening, and they showed the picture, and I was just like,
Woohoo.
I was like, what? Did they just do that? Like, I was just like, I thought, okay, like
I thought they built higher.
yeah, I thought they would like do like a little video thing, you know?
But I wonder whether it's because of lack of resources that they weren't able to
Yeah,
get.
maybe they just had that picture. Maybe I don't know.
And they were like, woohoo.
I'm sure we will get a full video, like a la like when the third jobs for the fourth paths gets announced, like maybe like a same type of video we had for third jobs.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, will be cool. Will be cool. Yeah, more Raven art. Want to see more Raven? It'll be cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's pretty much the whole conference. So yeah, what do you guys like? Before we end off here, like any just thoughts, highlights, or whatever, just general feelings about it?
I didn't go into this with any expectations.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more like I was more interested to seeing of like the kinds of things that they talk about, and again, I didn't really have any expectations going into this. So
Yeah.
I guess I feel kind of, how do I say this? I don't want to say indifferent because there are definitely some things here that are nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like there's.
But at the same time, I don't feel particularly strongly about
Yeah.
anything here.
Like I don't like. It's interesting that Nani says I think it was a poor conference. I don't think it was actually a poor conference because I think it's just that people just want more immediate answers. I think with a lot of the issues, KOG actually said that they're actually gonna work on it. It's just that people are not satisfied with that answer, and I understand why people are not satisfied with that answer because they want answers now. But they did say that they're gonna like give a more detailed response in 2 weeks, and I think, you know, maybe having to wait for that is annoying, so that's why people feel negative about it. But I don't know. I'm a little bit more sympathetic because I'm just like, okay, if I hear about an issue and like I have to think about like the programmers and like the other 80 people working on it, I can't be like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. I feel like I can only be like, all right, we'll work on it and we'll tell you in the future like what we're actually gonna do about it. I don't know. That's just how I feel about it, at least.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Force Pass reveal wasn't very poor taste. I kind of agree.
I agree with that. No.
I think they, yeah, I think what they should have done was keep that in the bag, and then when they're like previewing, and then when they released it, I don't know, their big trailer for some update.
Yeah,
then they
yeah.
like shove in the coming. Then they shove in the coming soon.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Yeah. I think. Yeah, and I think one big thing to note is that if people want to get angry about like this conference because they feel like nothing happened, because they kept saying like, you know, we'll work on it. I think get angry in 2 weeks when they give them more detailed response. I think that's when you get angry if people do that, and if they do that and they either first of all don't give a detailed response, or second of all the detailed response isn't good. I think that's when you get angry.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But it was interesting.
So you see the big picture.
It's interesting. My biggest gripe is actually not for the KOG, it's for the players. Like, again, I talked about it at the beginning of the stream, but I'm a little bit ticked off that they never talked about imprinting, because I feel like it's a reward for the hardest content in the game, and it's a bad system. Then all the character stuff, like maybe they didn't have enough time to talk about it, but I don't know. I was just very hyped up to hear about all these characters, because all these documents were put together, all these forum posts were all put together, and it felt like the community was like gathering together to be like, all right, check this out, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, it felt like we had the essence of everybody going into that, and it's just like, nah, we never talked about it, and it's just like, dang, that sucks. Just want a core event, man. I just wanted a core event. Is that so much to ask?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think one last thing is that I really hope that one step in the future is going to be, how can we let our voices be heard, like as the NA community, as the INT community, as the EU community, the TW community? How can we let our voices be heard in these type of things? Like, it is cool that they're doing these type of conferences, but so far they've only done it with Korean players. You know what I mean?
Like, I think the biggest thing is the language barrier.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course. I think, of course, language barrier is going to be like a big thing, but it almost feels like we have no impact, because like at least like if we like maybe gathered together and it's just like, okay, put your suggestions here, and then the top 5 voted like submissions, they get talked about in the conference. Like maybe something like that would be good, you know? Like I think something like that, like obviously, and then they would be like the top 5 things that we want would get translated and things like that. So the translation isn't a big thing. Something like it doesn't have to be like our actual voice. Like I'm not saying fly me over to Korea so I can be part of that conference. I'm not saying that. I'm just like, you know, it doesn't feel like we're making any impact on this game that we love and that we all play.
I think the problem with that is, I mean, clearly we do. I mean, clearly we have been taken into consideration.
Yeah. But we don't know to what degree.
Yeah. So, but I think the issue is, since there's no transparency, like it's hard. I mean, we do have the suggestions section in the Discord, but
which just got revamped, by the way. That just recently got revamped.
Yeah. Yes, thank you for noticing that. Like it's. Oh, I have to try and talk about this without
giving
too many details.
That's fair.
But at the same time, like it's very hard. Like because of that lack of transparency, it's very hard to say what gets.
Yeah, what gets sent over, like what doesn't, like what voice gets heard.
Like, does everything get sent over? Like does
certain things, like I don't know.
Like, yeah, like this. Like I think the only thing that we can go off is that
something is getting, like some voices being heard.
Something is getting over, because if nothing was getting over, then the second wouldn't exist.
Yeah. So we know some voices getting over to them. We just don't know which voices, what particular things have been sent over. Like that's kind of what we're in the dark about.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it's kind of like once you know the answer, you cannot share it with anyone.
Right. And I think honestly, if they want like a good for KOG and things like that, I think if they just want a good to show a good, I don't even know how to say it, like show a good face or whatever like that, like I know maybe this sounds a bit wacky and it sounds maybe a bit out there, but I think maybe having one rep from these international, like these non-Korean servers, just kind of be in one conference, like maybe on like a video call or something like that, or like maybe they have a section dedicated to other servers where these other, like one representative from each server is just in a server, like just a big call, and they talk a little bit about like the things that they want to talk about. Like I think that'd be a great step. I honestly really think that would be a great step. So it feels like we have impact, you know what I mean? Like maybe nothing else actually changed behind the scenes, but I think that would be a good showing to be like, okay, check it out, we actually have some impact now, you know?
Yeah, so then people can stop complaining, regardless of what actually happens in the back end.
Yeah, because in the back end, who knows? Maybe we actually have a lot of impact, but we just don't know we do, you know?
Yeah, and then because of that, people complain because complain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think we need like a good physical showing. It doesn't have to be so crazy. I think it could be like a quick segment in a conference where we quickly talk to a bunch of people, like one rep from each server, and just quickly talk to them. It could be, I mean, it could be a GM from the server. You know what I mean? Like it could be a GM from each of these servers, just like talking a little bit what the top things that the players want or what have you. You know. But
no reason they won't listen to us because their perspective on us is heavily based on pride ideology. Like to them, we're probably inferior. I'd say it's
I don't know. I think that's an assumption. I don't know.
Yeah, I 100% think it's an assumption.
Yeah.
But I think what else can play a part is money. Money speaks a lot of volumes. I've probably said this multiple times on the podcast, but I remember seeing a chart of fake Grand Order's income from multiple servers. 80% is from the Japanese server.
Yeah.
I think 15% is from their like Chinese and Taiwan, and and then NA is 5%.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to consider like what are you going to give to what kinds of things do you want to give to a server that is only giving you 5% of your profit.
Yeah, that's true.
And like
that's fair.
Yeah, and also I guess Fake Grand Order is very like it probably earns a lot more money than also is. But at the same time, like, NA also gets their own like exclusive like live streams, and they have like actual like Japanese voice actors come in to talk about stuff. And I think I'm not sure how the translation side goes into that because I don't actually go to these streams myself. But yeah, they actually get Japanese voice actors to talk in these like NA streams. And then they have their own like booths. They're big enough to have their own booths at like AX, which is like a Western anime convention.
Oh yeah, I know about AX. I also was at AX.
Yeah. But I imagine not as big of a booth as Fake Grand. I imagine Fake Grand Order would have a much larger following just because it's a bigger game. Yeah. And then the end, like Fake NA is getting all that stuff, and when they are only 5% of the total profit, like how much do you think else would
Right.
Yeah, and I think it's unfortunate that money speaks quite loud. That money speaks very loudly, but I think it's
Yeah.
just the reality of things. Cogs
Yeah, it really
business.
just they cash so much.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't to say that this also isn't an assumption,
Yeah. It, of course,
but
is an assumption that like who knows, like TW might be the most whale server. We don't know. Like who actually knows?
yeah, yeah,
Like
TW is crazy.
I don't know. So yeah, I'm not sure, but I do think like at least a better showing I think could help a lot of people's feelings towards it.
Mm.
It's definitely a step, though. You know, it's definitely a step. They said they'd work. We can obviously already see that their communication's better because we made the KR players made the forum posts and then they made the birth raids based on those forum posts, like the birth not birth raid. The remember the buffs like for birth rate or whatever. Those were influenced by the forum
Oh,
posts. Yeah, like yeah, the one that
oh,
made
yeah.
Nova and Mana Machine and things like that, and like overheatable bursting blade. Like that was from a KR forum post, so it's obvious that they're listening more. It's just like I hope the next step will be listening to us more, at least, or at least showing that they're listening to us more.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I think
Anything else?
no, I think that's it.
All right. Anybody else in chat as we kind of wind down here? This was a kind of long podcast. I knew it was going to be just because it's such a big thing in our community. Like this is such a big thing in Elsword, you know, player and KOG conference.
I think so
Like,
too, especially because KOG has had a notorious history for like lack of transparency.
yeah, and just being this just guy in the shadowy background, just making making the puppet strings or whatever. It's like actually meeting the guy behind the curtain is actually pretty crazy. Oh. Yeah, and there's some things that are hidden too. Like we don't know how much like Nexon has control over Elsword and things like that. So I don't know.
Yeah. That is very NDA.
But yeah, if nothing else, I think we're gonna wrap it up there. We'll probably talk about this again when they give their full detailed response in 2 weeks. So probably look towards that in the future. I also no. Okay, real okay. I gotta hold on to that. So Anachronistic, don't be fooled by that. That was a slide created by the player reps. That's not an accurate thing. You're talking, yeah, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the picture of where it's a picture of Elsword where money is going to KOG, and then KOG sends that money to other games. That was created by the players. That's just a graphic created by the players, not KOG. KOG's response to that, and we talked about it in the podcast, is that the situation is not as it seems in that picture. They said Elsword isn't essentially carrying the company. It's not that dire. So I did reveal that. Yeah. I've seen that picture posted like 20 times now in like various discords and on Twitter, and I think people think that's from KOG. It's not. It's from the player reps. That picture was created by the player reps as just an infographic.
Yeah, then people think that
That's how
is going elsewhere.
Yeah, that's how they think it is, but KOG said it isn't like that. It isn't. It is not actually like that. But yeah, that's it from us, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Any last comments you want to say, Sky?
Not. I mean, apart from the usual, thank you all for coming. I think so many people were.
Yes, 35 plus consistently.
Is this the highest amount of people concurrent viewers we've had on the podcast?
Probably. I mean,
it is.
It was either this or the KR protest. Maybe.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, no, the protest YouTube video did well, and I feel like this video will do well when we put it up on YouTube as well.
People want tea and understand.
But yeah, that's it for us. Have yourselves a fantastic day. Be on the lookout for their detailed responses in about 2 weeks' time, and all the future updates, including fourth path's gonna be crazy. But that's it for us. Have yourselves a fantastic day, and bye.